Good afternoon, and welcome to the Presidential Installation Ceremony honoring David Yellen as the 4th President of Marist College. I am Sarah Miller, member of the Marist class of 2017. I will now introduce the order of the academic procession. First in order is the Grand Marshal, Mr. Robert J. Grossman, Professor of Management Studies. Next in the procession is the Marist Army ROTC Color Guard, led by Cadet Claudia Weiss-Kittle. The Color Guard is followed by 36 delegates from colleges and universities around the country. The delegates enter the arena according to the order of their institution's founding year. A list of delegates can be found in your program. Immediately following the delegates from other colleges and universities are 140 members of the Marist College faculty. The faculty are followed in the procession by the academic deans and other members of the President's Cabinet. Next in the procession comes the Platform Party, comprised of the Marist College Board of Trustees, including the student and alumni representatives to the board and honored guests. The Platform Party also includes the chair of the faculty, Dr. Elizabeth L. Quinn, Associate Professor of Psychology. She carries the Marist College mace, an age-old symbol of authority rooted in Roman and medieval history. A staff made of wood and metal, the Marist College mace supports a three-sided crown, which carries the seal of the college. Its design represents the three ideals of the college: excellence in education, a sense of community, and a commitment to service. The center of the Marist seal shows the letters A and M interlaced with 12 stars above the letters, honoring the traditions of the Marist brothers who founded the college. Following the chair of the faculty is Dr. Dennis J. Murray, President Emeritus and Professor of Public Policy. Dr. Murray wears the Marist College Medallion, or Medal of Office, on a ribbon around his neck. Like the mace and seal, the medallion is a symbol of authority. Its roots can be traced to the Roman bulla, a golden amulet of honor. In earlier times, the back of the medallion would bear the personal seal or coat of arms of the wearer. The front of the Marist College President's Medallion carries the seal of the college, and the back bears the president's name and date of installation. Dr. Murray is followed by the chair of the Marist College Board of Trustees, Mrs. Ellen Hancock, who is followed by President David Yellen. Thank you for your attention. Please rise for the presentation of the colors by the Marist Army, ROTC, followed by our national anthem, which will be sung by members of the Marist College Singers. Please remain standing for the invocation, which will be offered by Brother Sean Salmon, member of the class of 1970, former Superior General of the Marist Brothers of the Schools, Marist College Scholar in Residence, and member of the Board of Trustees.
Stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight. O'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Please permit me to pray in your name. Good and gracious God, every new beginning brings with it a moment of hope. Dreams are rekindled, a heritage reclaimed, a future envisioned. As we mark this commencement today, remind us once again of the virtues on which this institution was founded. mercy and compassion, open-mindedness, zeal, selfless service, a love for the poor. May these very same qualities find a home in each of us today. Our campus rises up from the banks of this majestic river with its diversity, conflicting currents, occasional storms, and sense of mystery. May it be forever an example to us of what Marcelin Champagne had in mind when he set his Marist project in motion, mentoring young people with all their promise as well as their unfinished qualities. He wanted us to partner with them in the adventure of learning and to imbue them with the spirit of faith. We pledge to bring his dream to life in our time and place. And so may your love wrap round us, blessing the action that we take today, the words that we share, and the hopes and dreams that we hold deep in our hearts. And to this we say, amen.
Please be seated.
This is a solid, thoughtful, intelligent man.
I could tell that he was someone that listened as much as he spoke.
Obviously very smart.
And was a mature individual that you could trust.
Equally important for a president of a college, he connected with people.
It's more of a partnership. It's more of a, let's do this together.
He is a product of 11 years at Loyola Chicago, a Jesuit school. One of the attractions that Marist had for him was, in fact, that it is a college that's imbued with the Marist traditions.
I have tremendous respect for him. And he and his wife, Leslie, who's another strong professional lawyer, are quite a pair. They've raised 3 beautiful daughters who are going to go on to great things.
From a small town in northern New Jersey, went from Princeton to Cornell Law School.
David was a great student, intensely interested in all the questions that were in front of us, as well as his ability to deal with people who had similar views and people who had very different views.
Then he went on to be a law professor and rose to the position of dean of one of the finest law schools in the country.
His door is always open to faculty and students.
He really develops a trust in the people that become a part of his team.
He is known as a collaborator and a facilitator.
David saw that we're facing a crisis of access, who gets to higher education, and then a crisis of affordability.
He activated a plan and he was able to get people to step up and do what was right at the right time.
He's a natural at leading an academic community because you want to be able to listen, show you're paying attention, but you also want to move things forward.
When David was a student, he was primarily interested in the criminal law, which has been his passion from the time he got here up to this present day.
I know that David has worked tirelessly in advancing social justice, in facilitating opportunities for his students.
I met Dean Yellen in 2012 when I enrolled in law school. He knew my story and he wanted to see me succeed. But we also worked together on wrongful conviction cases in Chicago.
He not only understood the problem of youth incarceration or sentencing, but that he advocated for different standards and really took a stand.
We look back at what the Marist brothers founded. They founded a college with a mission of not only excellence in education, but helping to define that sense of community and that sense of service beyond. Our new president shares those ideals.
Everybody's just uniformly thrilled and eager to see what the next phase for Marist College is.
Marist is certainly at its apex, both in terms of the educational value it provides, in terms of the outside recognition of the institution by all of the available rating agencies that look at academics, outcomes, what our students do after they leave the institution.
There's an abundance of riches here at Marist. That does give him the luxury of coming up with new things that we might want to consider.
Of course, he's got huge shoes to fill. Dennis led the college into such a wonderful position.
This is a team that has won the World Series for almost 40 consecutive years.
Directionally, he will reinforce what Dennis has set in motion.
This is someone who understands education, has a great feel for Marist College.
Here we are at the starting point of a new strategic plan, which will take into effect the changing demographics, the changing curriculum needs, technology changes that are taking place in the delivery of education everywhere.
He's not a person that will ponder long. He really is a man of action.
The key thing for Marist is to transform, to be able to read the market and know where to place our bets.
The college is in the best shape of its life in terms of the beautiful buildings and the river that lies right outside.
Marist is like a bottle rocket. We're just going off at such a fabulous pace.
He will exemplify, as he has in his own life, the kinds of values that are at the core of this organization.
The great thing about Marist is it inspires you to be great.
In a sense, how fortunate we are as a college that we were able to find him and that he was able to find us.
Please welcome Mrs. Ellen Hancock, Chair of the Marist College Board of Trustees.
Good afternoon. Distinguished presidents, delegates, fellow trustees, esteemed faculty, students, staff, alumni, and revered guests. It is my great honor to welcome you to the inauguration of David Yellen as the 4th president of Marist College. The inauguration of any president is a historic moment, but this is especially true at Marist, where we've enjoyed remarkably stable leadership. I would be remiss not to acknowledge 2 Marist presidents emeriti. Dr. Richard Foy, who could not be here with us today, was president from 1958 to 1979. And now, Dr. Dennis Murray, who is with us, led the college from 1979 to 2016. And for those of you who are doing the math, that's 58 years of combined service to this institution. And the board thanks them both for their careful stewardship of Marist College. In the time since the granting of its charter, Marist has experienced a period of growth that transformed it from a small local college into a complex and highly selective comprehensive institution. By virtually any measure used to evaluate institutional performance, the college is at a high point of its history. But this Board of Trustees is not known for its complacency, and when seeking our next president, we were not looking for a caretaker, but an innovator. We knew that it would take a special kind of leader to succeed our last president, someone who could fully grasp the progress the institution has made to date, embrace the Marist values that have remained at the core of our identity, and point the way to a successful future. The board firmly believes that we have found that leader in David Yellen, and we are not alone in our opinion. Throughout the program that you will hear messages delivered by our new president on behalf of students, alumni, faculty, and friends in higher education. We are united in our endorsement of this extraordinary leader and our enthusiasm to begin our important work together. Thank you for joining in the celebration of Marist past and present and helping us to welcome David Yellen, the individual that we have entrusted with its future. Thank you.
Please welcome these representatives to the board, who will now offer greetings to President David Yellen. On behalf of the students, Student Body President and member of the class of 2017, Brandon Lee Hurd. On behalf of the alumni, President of the Alumni Association and member of the class of 1968, Paul X. Rinn. And on behalf of the faculty, Associate Professor of Psychology, Chair of the Faculty, and member of the class of 1995, Elizabeth L. Quinn.
It is an honor for me to welcome David Yellen on behalf of all the students. In so many ways, we have come so far to a place more vigorous, more prestigious, and more audacious than when it was founded 87 years ago. So here we are. At this illustrious institution, we ask, what does it mean to understand the world? Today, our understanding of the world comes not from objective reality, but from the people that have culturally defined it through the expansion of societal patterns, both in our past and our present. To understand the world this way then means that together we can consciously create our future. So with your help, David Yellen, together we can be better. Together we can see people as people. Together we can lead with integrity and transparency. Together we can find ways to provide equal access and inclusivity. Together we can find inspiration when we do something well, and together we can find inspiration when we fail. And although you have not been here for over 87 years, you have been here for over 87 days. If we can understand the world through your everlasting passion, intimacy, and intellect, then together we can continue to expand the cultural patterns of our institution that we historically built to existence from the very soils beneath our feet. Let me close by saying this. We, the students, may not always be vocal, but if you promise to help us activate our understanding of the world by allowing us to understand who we are when we stand side by side, shoulder to shoulder, then together we can. Welcome to Marist, David, Leslie, Jordan, Meredith, and Bailey.
Good afternoon. On behalf of the more than 40,000 Marist College graduates around the world, I would like to welcome you on this auspicious occasion in the history of the college. President David Yellen, it is an honor for me to welcome you on behalf of the Marist alumni that are present here today and also that are with us very much in spirit. For more than 70 years, men and women have passed through the gates of Marist College, seeking intellectual stimulus, exposure to critical thinking, moral guidance, philosophical perspective, and ethical enlightenment. They have taken that education and the Marist tradition that was given them and utilized its guidance in the pursuing of their goals and achievements around the world. This is an amazing group of men and women who share a great affection for their college. Marist alumni take enormous pride in the college's accomplishments, as well as the momentum and energy everywhere that you see on this campus. With great expectations, we join you today, David Yellen, to begin a new chapter in Marist history. Celebrating your inauguration provides a unique moment for all to reflect on our heritage and the profound contribution Marist has made to our lives and to our society in general. Today, we reaffirm our most deeply held values, and then we look boldly with you, David, to the future and all its endless possibilities. We appreciate your recognition of the strategic role Marist alumni can play in the task of bringing Marist to the next level of achievement. We are excited by the prospects of working together with you to enhance the level of alumni participation and increase the breadth of involvement and support that it can provide. We are inspired by your commitment to foster mutual respect, civility, and celebrate diversity in every area of the college for the purpose of achieving the common good for all. May your leadership in the coming years build on the college's sound foundation and prove most fruitful. For this most important endeavor, it is my privilege to pledge to you the loyal support of all Marist College alumni and enthusiastically wish you the best of luck and Godspeed in our journey into the future.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. As both an alumna and an associate professor, someone who has been on both sides of the desk at Marist, not to mention the parent of a Marist grad, it is an honor to be here today representing the faculty as we officially inaugurate David Yellen as the 4th president of Marist College. David, as you have already learned in your first 4 months, Greystone overlooks an ever-changing and ever-growing campus on the beautiful Hudson River. Some would say our campus on the banks of the Hudson is the best part of Marist, but you and I, and all those who find a home in this community, know it's not. From the Marist brothers, who founded the college, through the leadership legacies of Brother Paul Ambrose, Dr. Richard Foy, and Dr. Dennis Murray, and all those who served with them, Marist represents an inextricable weaving of generations of tradition and innovation. And what makes Marist truly outstanding is we are a spectacular, multidimensional community comprised of scholars and athletes, artists, entrepreneurs, and veterans who are dedicated to our students. We pride ourselves in fostering faculty-student relationships that serve to develop the intellect, character, and skills necessary for enjoying enlightened, ethical, productive, and purposeful lives in the global community of the 21st century. Now we, the faculty, administration, staff, trustees, and even the students may not always agree on the best approach to accomplish that mission. In fact, some may say our individuality, our independent thinking, make reaching consensus on anything akin to herding cats. And at Marist, even the herding and handling of cats is a community effort. But I hope that you will find it's our incredible diversity of perspective and our respect for each other and our profession that fuel the vitality that is Marist. I can tell you, we truly appreciate your recognition of the strategic role of the faculty in the advancement of the college. We look forward to sharing governance with you as we work together to actualizing all the potential of the Marist community. And today, I'd like to leave you with the words of the great prophet, Bruce Springsteen, when he spoke of Robert Ingersoll, who, like you, was a lawyer and a proponent of civility and social justice. Springsteen said, "I leave you pansies, the symbolic flowers of free thought in memory of Robert Ingersoll, who stood for equality, education, progress, free ideas, free lives, and against superstition and bigotry." We need people like him more than ever. He inspires us and challenges the better angels of our nature when people open their hearts and minds to his simple, honest humanity. Talk about a dream. Try to make it real. Welcome to Marist, David, and a warm welcome to Leslie, Jordan, Meredith, and Bailey as you officially begin your adventure. Thank you.
Please stand for the college's alma mater, the Marist Song, composed by the late professor of chemistry, Dr. Richard LaPietra. Will now be performed by members of the Marist College Singers and Wind Symphony.
God bless these college halls, we reach the skies as Marist praise we sing. Its spirit strong and truthful fills our hearts and minds. Now go we forth to share our lives with others in His grace divine. Our voices reach the skies as Marist praise we sing. Its spirit strong and truthful fills our hearts and minds. Now go we forth to share our lives with others in His grace divine.
Please welcome Mr. Ross A. Morey, Vice Chair of the Marist College Board of Trustees and member of the class of 1980, who will introduce the inaugural speaker.
Kurt L. Schmoke has had a remarkable career, achieving great success in public service, the private sector, and higher education. A native of Baltimore, President Schmoke attended Yale University, received a Rhodes Scholarship to study at Oxford University, and then graduated from Harvard Law School. President Schmoke served in the Carter administration, then as an assistant United States attorney in Maryland. In 1982, he was elected as the state's attorney for Baltimore City. In 1987, he was elected mayor of Baltimore. President Schmoke served as mayor for 12 years and was widely recognized as an innovative leader and passionate advocate of Baltimore. After stepping down as mayor, Mr. Schmoke returned to the private practice of law for several years. Then, in 2003, he was appointed as the dean of Howard University School of Law. It was in that capacity that he and President Yellen became friends, as President Yellen was at that time the dean of Hofstra Law School. President Yellen recalls being humbled about the magnitude of the challenges President Schmoke had faced as mayor and the grace Mr. Schmoke demonstrated. In 2012, Mr. Schmoke became general counsel of Howard University. Then, in 2014, he was appointed president of the University of Baltimore. On a higher note, fans of HBO series The Wire will be interested to know that President Schmoke appeared in 2 episodes of this award-winning show, which is set in Baltimore, playing the role of an advisor to the fictitious mayor of the city. We are deeply honored that President Schmoke has joined us today to share some remarks. His life and career represent the values we hold dear at Marist. Please join me in welcoming President Kurt L. Schmoke.
Thank you very much. Well, members of the faculty, students, staff, alumni, and friends of Marist College, thank you very much for this honor of allowing me to participate in these inaugural ceremonies. I was a little surprised when I received the invitation to speak, but then I remembered that President Yellen knows that I come from the school of public speaking that believes that a speech, in order to be immortal, need not be eternal. So I have decided to forego the first 45 minutes of my remarks and get right to the heart of the matter. In David Yellen, you have selected one fine human being and leader to be your president. I was once asked to describe David as succinctly as possible. My reply to that request was 2 words: optimistic pragmatist. And I emphasize those words in that order, and I'll explain why. I've had the good fortune of working with David or monitoring projects which he's worked on for a number of years. One of the things that impressed me was that in all the tasks set before him, he brings an exuberant spirit, a delight in working with others, and a hopeful outlook on the ability to achieve even the toughest goals. He helped to lead an effort to reform legal education and to improve the professional conduct of lawyers in this country. Those of you who have dealt with the law and lawyers know that change does not come easily or quickly to that profession. However, David persevered in this effort and brought about change when others thought it could not happen. In that effort, he embodied a saying that my grandmother used to use. She would say, "By the yard, life is hard, but by the inch, life's a cinch." So David, with great optimism, energy, wonderful diplomatic skills, inched the legal education hierarchy along toward significant progress. Now, I pause at this point to thank the members of the Marist College Search Committee for apparently accepting the interpretation that William Shakespeare, in writing these famous words, "The first thing we do, let's kill the lawyers," that he was actually complimenting, not denigrating the profession. Obviously, there are those who would suggest a more literal interpretation, but I'm inclined to support those who say that the Bard was recognizing the important role of lawyers in defending just order in society. David Yellen is clearly one of those who has always represented the best in the legal profession, a man of integrity, a fighter for justice. This fighter for justice, this optimistic pragmatist, was most clearly on display when President Yellen was called upon by the judiciary in Illinois to help heal the wounds caused by abusive police tactics in the Chicago police. Well before recently publicized cases, Chicago had to deal with a police commander who inflicted on the community he was supposed to serve a pattern and practice of tactics that amounted to actual torture of some citizens. His behavior was so outrageous that he was charged with crimes, convicted, and sentenced to prison for his actions. I think we know how unusual that is. Later, it was discovered that there were many men who were incarcerated based on confessions that they made as a result of these torture tactics. So the issue that arose in the city was how to bring justice to those who had been victimized by this rogue police commander. To answer that question, the city turned to David Yellen. And once again, with his mix of personal characteristics, he developed an approach to the problem which allowed the court and the city to find ways to right some of the wrongs which had marred that community. Now, I know that David feels blessed to be selected as the president of Marist College, given the outstanding history and traditions of this institution. He's a collaborative leader, as demonstrated by the creative programs which he and the faculty developed at Loyola Law School. I'm sure he will work with you to develop a strategic plan that will advance the college, the goals of the college. But I'm also sure that he understands the wisdom of the words often attributed to management guru Peter Drucker that, quote, "Culture eats strategy for breakfast," unquote. What a wonderful culture you have here at Marist. A focus on blending liberal arts with pre-professional education, a commitment to quality research and teaching, recognition that your students are citizens of the world and not just the local area, alumni and friends who support the college in multiple ways, and a deep belief in the value of diversity. Those are great pillars upon which strategy is built. They comprise part of the Marist culture of which you should be proud. Well, none of us can be absolutely certain about the future of higher education in general and liberal arts colleges in particular. We know that there will be some difficult headwinds to navigate. To paraphrase another lawyer from Illinois with whom we are familiar, the dogmas of the past may be inadequate for the present. New thinking will have to be embraced in order to make sure that Marist is not only responding to challenges, but is also taking charge of change. I'm confident that David Yellen is the right person at the right time to lead Marist in these changing times. So I want to congratulate Marist College community and wish my friend David Yellen much success as president. David, may you thrive as an outstanding Red Fox.
Please welcome members of David Yellen's family.
Hi, my name is Meredith Yellen. I'm so sorry I can't be with you today. My sisters, Jordan, Bailey, and myself will be reciting a poem for our dad. Somebody said that it couldn't be done, but he with a chuckle replied that maybe it couldn't, but he would be one who wouldn't say so till he tried. So he buckled right in with a trace of a grin on his face. If he worried he hit it, he started to sing as he tackled the thing that couldn't be done, but he did it.
Somebody will never do that. At least no one ever has done it. But he took off his coat and he took off his hat, and the first thing we knew, he'd begun it. With a lift of his chin and a bit of a grin, without any doubting or quit it, he started to sing as he tackled the thing that couldn't be done, and he did it.
There are thousands to say it cannot be done. There are thousands to prophesy failure. There are thousands to point out to you one by one the dangers that wait to assail you. But just buckle in with a bit of a grin, just put on your coat and go to it. Just start to sing as you tackle the thing that cannot be done, and you'll do it.
President Yellen will now remove his earned regalia from Cornell University and be robed in the Marist presidential gown. Assisting with his robing are immediate past chair of the Marist College Board of Trustees, Robert Dyson, and past chair of the Board of Trustees, James Canavino. The presidential gown is a doctoral robe designed by faculty members in Marist's fashion design program. The primary color is the Marist red, framed by standard black panels adorned with an embroidered Marist M, a symbol which appears on both the Marist seal and the college's main gate.
It worked in rehearsal.
The hood features Marist red with a white chevron. The velvet sleeves are black, surrounded by white piping. The presidential gown contains 4 sleeve bars, as opposed to the 3 contained on a traditional doctoral robe. President Emeritus Dennis J. Murray will now place the Marist medallion around David Yellen's neck, symbolizing the transfer of presidential authority from one administration to another. Mrs. Ellen Hancock, Chair of the Marist College Board of Trustees, will now place the college's founding documents in David Yellen's hands as she formally installs him as Marist's fourth president.
President Emeritus Murray has placed over your shoulders the seal of the college, the symbol of the high office that you now hold. By virtue of the authority of Marist College and the Board of Trustees, I now commit to you this charter of the college. The board has tremendous respect for your reputation as an outstanding attorney, educator, and leader. Your strong commitment to social justice and service is very much in keeping with the traditions of the Marist brothers, and we are confident in your ability to lead this great institution into the future while honoring its past. I here now present to you the fourth president of Marist College, David Yellen.
Thanks, everybody. Well, having traded in one red robe for another, like any good lawyer, what I'm tempted to do is say the defense rests and just sit right down. But I know it's expected of me to say at least a few words. So thank you, Ellen, for handing me both physically and symbolically the charter of this wonderful institution. It's a great honor to be entrusted with continued leadership. Today's a day to celebrate all that Marist College has become and to talk a little bit about the future. Let me begin, though, by expressing my gratitude to a number of people who've helped make today's event so wonderful. First, let me thank my friend Kurt Schmoke, President of the University of Baltimore. Kurt's someone whose life and work I admired for a long time before I even got to know him, and even before he was on the wire. So I greatly appreciate him being here and sharing those remarks. A really special thank you to the Inauguration Committee, and in particular, Lori DeJong and Jim Honan, members of the Board of Trustees. There was a lot of preparation to make today go well, and they worked along with the committee and technicians, the McCann Center staff, housekeeping staff, caterers, tirelessly to make things go so well. Thank you also to Art Himmelberger, Sarah Williams, and our alumni and student musicians for the beautiful music that you shared with us today. Thank you tremendously to President Emeritus Dennis Murray for being so generous with his time and advice in my 4 months here at Marist. Marist has been one of the great success stories in higher education in recent decades, thanks in no small part to Dennis's remarkable leadership. As a new president, I've appreciated the opportunity to learn from the best, and I'm grateful for your friendship. As Ellen Hancock mentioned, Dennis's predecessor, Dr. Richard Foy, couldn't be here today, but he lives in the area, and I've spent time with him and talking about the college back from the 50s to the 70s, and he was another transformative leader, and he's been a good friend and advisor. Not many people have the luxury of stepping into an office of such a wonderful college to have the benefit of 60 years of leadership experience right in their backyard. So thank you to Dr. Foy as well. I'd like to thank everybody in the Marist community, faculty, staff, students, alumni, for the great welcome that you've given my family and I. It's sort of hard to believe it's only been 4 months. It feels like we've been part of this community already longer than that. And let me thank very greatly the Yellen and the other members of the Board of Trustees, the Presidential Search Committee, which was chaired by Ross Morey, for all the great confidence that you have placed in me. I know it couldn't have been easy to think about selecting a president after 37 years of spectacular leadership by Dennis, but I promise that I'll do everything I can to live up to your expectations and help Marist achieve even greater things in the future. So thank you, members of the board, for everything that you do. I'm also delighted to be joined today by friends and family. I have friends from many chapters of my life here today, my aunt, a number of cousins. I'm delighted to be joined by my father-in-law, Dr. George Richards, my 2 sisters-in-law, Allison and Leah, my brother Howard. You already have met my incredible daughters, Jordan and Bailey, and the middle one, that was a surprise to me. Our middle daughter, Meredith, who's a first semester medical student out in Chicago, I basically banned her from coming because she's in the middle of exams. So I'm glad she was able to make a virtual appearance as well. And then there's my wife, Leslie. We've been married for over 30 years now, and we don't really like to gush about each other in public. So all I'll say is that it was an open secret during the search process, as Lee Marigoff kept reminding me over and over that she was polling much higher in the search process than I was. And they really wanted Leslie here, and I guess they swallowed the pill and decided to hire me as well. And then, finally, it's to think of the people who aren't here. I wish my mother-in-law, to whom I was very close, and my parents were still with us to be here. If they're up above looking down, my mom is very proud, if slightly embarrassed about the, a little bit over-the-top ceremony, while my dad is bragging to anyone who will listen to him. As I got to know Marist better during the search process, I was obviously extremely impressed. Marist has been on a trajectory that's matched by only a small number of colleges and universities. Our academic programs, our finances, our campus have never been in better shape. There's a sense of dynamism and optimism about the future. In a higher education landscape full of challenges, Marist is a real success story. Let's talk about what makes Marist special. Our college was, of course, founded by the Marist brothers. One of the amazing things about Marist is that even though we have not been a religiously affiliated college for many years, the connection to and the values of the Marist brothers remain central to who we are. These core values, among others, but the core ones that I'm going to focus on are excellence in education, a strong sense of community, and a commitment to service. And I'd like to say a few words about each of these values. Excellence in education is demonstrated by an emphasis on quality teaching in a small classroom setting, the special relationship that develops between a student and a professor, leading to mentorship, joint research, and intellectual guidance. Marist also believes that students, no matter their primary field of study, should receive a broad education across many disciplines, should learn to think logically and creatively, and should be able to communicate effectively both orally and in writing. Excellence also includes a forward-looking educational philosophy which incorporates the use of technology and meaningful learning opportunities outside of the classroom, everything from internships to study abroad to leadership development programs, because we know that the best type of education helps students prepare for success after college. The sense of community is something that you can't help but be struck by as a newcomer to Marist. The way people interact with and support one another. This is a place where students hold the door for you and ask visitors if they need help finding a building. Fortunately, I don't need that help much anymore. The way the community rallies around someone in need. There's no doubt Marist is the kind of place where the goodness in people shines through. It's also a place where students are actively involved in the life of the college, and their engagement makes us a better, more vibrant institution. There are scores of student clubs, an active student government, exciting Division I athletics, intramurals and club sports, and first-rate opportunities in music, obviously, and the arts. I've been just so impressed with the enthusiasm our students bring to everything that they do. Our sense of community is primarily based on the people here at Marist, but it's greatly enhanced by our physical setting. I've spent time on a number of the most beautiful college campuses in the country, and Marist holds its own with each and every one of them. It's not just the majestic buildings, but also our incredible natural surroundings. I used to have a view of Lake Michigan, but it's inspiring every day to look out the window and see the Hudson River flowing by. Our commitment to service is a very important Marist value as well. At Marist, we recognize that those of us who've been blessed by good fortune, students, faculty, and staff, have an obligation to give back. The college's commitment to social justice and helping the less fortunate runs deep, and it's really what sealed the deal for me in terms of coming here and joining this community. As an institution, Marist runs many different programs for disadvantaged students, supports a wide range of programs to meet our community's needs, and sponsors programs that broaden access to education. We also encourage our students to get involved in community service projects, not only because it's the right thing to do, but because it's also good preparation for life. Our students volunteer in the local community and around the world, everything from mentoring school children right here in Poughkeepsie, to building houses in Arkansas, to teaching computer skills in Mexico. They raise money to help wounded warriors, fight HIV/AIDS, and defeat breast cancer. And they do it all, again, with a sense of optimism that they can have a lasting impact. I was so thrilled with the optimistic theme of Kurt's talk because I wanted to say the same thing about Marist College, so it really accidentally has fit together so well. It's not just our students who are making the world a better place. Each year, led by our wonderful campus ministry, the entire Marist community comes together to donate food to the hungry and provide Christmas gifts for children who might not otherwise receive anything. Now, if we want our school and our country to live up to its ideals, it's important that every one of us contribute to its betterment, whether in large ways or small. That's what character is. That's what doing good quietly, as the Marist brothers say, is about. And that's what each of us is called to do in some way. So we remain rooted in these three values handed down to us by the Marist brothers: excellence in education, sense of community, and a commitment to service. By remaining true to those values, Marist has thrived as an institution. But as we look to the future, we must not be at all complacent. As President John Kennedy once said, "Change is the law of life. Those who look only to the past or the present are certain to miss the future." Those words are even truer today than when President Kennedy spoke them. The landscape in higher education is changing rapidly. The gap between successful and struggling institutions is widening. If we hope to thrive in this environment and enhance or even sustain our commitment to our values, we must be nimble, creative, and determined. Over the next year, we'll be developing a strategic plan to guide us over the next 5 years. But even at this early point, there are a few themes I'd like to highlight that are going to be critical to our success in the future. To enhance our commitment to academic excellence, we must continue to innovate and diversify. Marist has been very proactive in this regard, but we must continue to develop new programs, frequently at the graduate and professional school level, that appeal to students and enhance our reputation and revenue sources. We must also explore new delivery methods to reach new groups of potential students. Distance learning is still in its infancy, but its importance is likely to grow exponentially in coming decades. We have been and must remain a leader in the use of new technologies. We must also leverage our most distinctive programs and invest more in our faculty to grow our regional, national, and international reputation. We can do all of this in a way that enhances our central focus on providing a broad education to undergraduates. To translate our sense of community effectively into the 21st century, we must continue to become more diverse and inclusive. This is a matter both of social justice and enlightened self-interest. America's demographics are changing, and Marist must reflect that to appeal to the best and brightest students. Over the past several years in particular, Marist has made a concerted effort to diversify our institution, and there's clear momentum. The class of 2020 that just began is the most diverse in the college's history, with students of color, for example, making up 22% of freshmen. In addition, our student body represents students from 48 different states and 49 foreign countries. Increasing numbers is the first step, but it's important that all students feel valued and supported here. Marist must feel like home to all of our students, regardless of color, LGBT students, students from all religious backgrounds, international students, students with disabilities, and veterans. Finally, to pursue excellence in education, enhance our sense of community, and continue to serve others, we must maintain our financial soundness. This may sound rather mundane, but as one of my favorite politicians, the late Governor Mary Cuomo, said, you campaign in poetry, but you govern in prose. The most impressive vision and goals are largely meaningless unless you have the means to pursue them. Marist's success over the decades has been built upon superb financial management, but new challenges confront us, including demographic trends and family concerns about cost and career outcomes for graduates. All around us, we see colleges that are struggling, even failing. In addition to continuing to make smart decisions about our current resources, we must redouble our efforts to expand our financial base. Many of the goals I've mentioned, such as enhancing our academic reputation through the work of the faculty and increasing diversity and inclusiveness, will require additional resources. We've developed some excellent new programs in recent years in areas where there is potential for enrollment growth, but we must continue aggressively on this path. We also have to increase our endowment over time. As a young college, we have a relatively small number of alumni who have been, up to this point, capable of making transformative gifts. That number is growing, though, and we must make a compelling case for philanthropic support of Marist. So, we know that change is coming. The years ahead will not be quiet ones. They won't always be easy, but we should embrace the challenges and opportunities ahead on our journey. Oliver Wendell Holmes Sr., the father of the famous Supreme Court Justice, wrote, "I find the great thing in this world is not so much where we stand as in what direction we are moving. We must sail, sometimes with the wind and sometimes against it, but we must sail and not drift nor lie at anchor." I look forward to our journey together with great confidence. Marist College has built an incredibly strong foundation for us to continue to enhance. The timeless values handed down to us by the Marist brothers will continue to guide us. Working together, there is no limit to what Marist College can accomplish. So thank you all so much for being here today, for your support during my first few months at Marist, and for all that you will do for us and we will do together in the future. Thank you.
Please welcome Brother Frank Kelly, Director of Campus Ministry and a graduate of the class of 1973, to give the benediction.
Let us pray. Lord, as we begin this new and exciting chapter in our history, we ask your blessing upon our President David. Bless him with a love for this place and its people, and with a strong sense of its rich history. Bless him with the strength, imagination, and audacity of our founding brothers, and with your love and mercy. Now blessed by you, may David in turn be a blessing to us, helping us to walk always in the ways of wisdom, truth, and light. And to this prayer we can all say, Amen.